Dave, stat adjustments are so much better than feats.
Yeah, for the most part, I would totally agree with that.
So what if we built a character build that had no feats?
You know, Ted, I think we do that all the time.
I don't know, Dave. I think most of the character builds we do have 2 feet.
Really, Ted? That's where you're going to go?
So if you want a character with no feet, play a Centaur.
Ted, why do I let you get away with this? Let's just do a character build for 5e, making it a Centaur. This time we're going to be non-Adventurers League legal. Welcome to Nerdarchy. For nerds, by nerds, I'm Nerdarchy Steve, and as usual, I'm hanging out with this nerd.
Nerdarchy Ted.
Maybe it's your first time visiting Ted's basement. It's a place where we like to discuss news, views, and homebrews for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. Sometimes we even talk about other role-playing games.
So if you don't want to miss a single video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and attune to that notification bell.
You know, Ted, the biggest problem with playing a Centaur character in 5e D&D, or really any game, is how do you find a mini? You know, if you maybe have one choice or 2 choices tops.
Well, we might have the perfect solution. The sponsor for this video is Hero Forge, and if you're looking to build your Centaur character, you might want to check out their Centaur options over there.
It's going to be fully posable. You can equip it however you want. If you want to make a Centaur wizard, you can absolutely do that. Cleric, paladin, rogue, doesn't matter. You're going to be able to do it over on Hero Forge. And you know, the holidays are creeping up, and you can still get gift cards for the special gamer in your life.
You want to let them have the ability to make the perfect mini, the miniature of their dreams. Giving them a gift card is going to give you so many options, it's going to be ridiculous.
There will be a link down in the description. Now let's get on with our character build.
So when we do these character builds, we always like, oh, well, you know, we come up with a theme, and then we get into the race, class, and background options. Well, we already have a race picked out. We know we want to go with Centaur.
We're going to go with Centaur, and that is going to give us a couple things. We are going to get a skill from that. There's a menu that you get to choose from. We chose medicine because we felt like it's going to go with the other stuff we're doing with this character build. We're also going to get a couple languages. We're going to get common, and we're going to get Sylvan.
We're also going to get a +2 to strength and a +1 to wisdom.
So the concept we kind of came up with once we decided to use a Centaur is this idea that they're kind of like a knight, right? Mm-hmm. Except for they're not a knight that rides a horse. They're kind of a knight that is the horse, right? It's all combined in one. Centaur came from the Ravnica's, Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica.
Yep.
So, you know, we looked at there for further inspiration. So we're even going to take one of the backgrounds from there and kind of double down. We wanted the guild that most seemed like to fit this idea of our knightly kind of maybe like Templar style Centaur.
So we wound up with the Azorius Functionary. That's going to give us 2 languages. It's going to give us 2 skills. So we're going to get Insight and Intimidation. And then the languages, we're going to get Celestial and Giant. Yeah,
so the idea is the Azorius Guild, they kind of like are this bastion. They stand against the brutes and the monsters. And this particular person, the Centaur, does it wholeheartedly. We're embracing that with the full build. So much so, we're affectionately referring to this build as our Templar of Azorius.
So lot of fun. So if we're creating this Templar, this knight-like character, we have to, be able to pull some different options.
It almost sounds like a paladin from the way we're describing it, right?
Right.
But that's because we are going to go with some divine holiness in this build, but not from the paladin.
So if you're not going to go paladin, then you have to kind of combine fighter and cleric to kind of give you that mix.
Now, we did mention we're really doubling down on Ravnica on this build. And again, that's why this is not an Adventurers League legal character build, because we're using all this Ravnica stuff. And we want to use the Order Cleric because we feel like that just like screams Templar to me. Like they're commanding, like they're this bulwark of authority. And, we're going to combine that with fighter.
I think the Order domain is fantastic. It definitely fits the theme. And if we're also looking at, being this, kind of, Cavalier-esque, ability without getting on a horse, then, then there's some definite options there as well.
Yeah, I think you actually mentioned that option, the Cavalier. So what we're going to do is we're going to start this build. We're going to go through the stats and then we'll go through the level progression. For our physicals, we're going to go 12 strength, 8 dex, and 14 con.
We're going to have a 10 intelligence, a 15 wisdom, and a 13 charisma. That wisdom is going to get bumped up to a 16. That 13 means, we've got that +1 in our charisma skill. So we've got some things to work with.
Yeah, also that strength is going to bump from a 12 to a 14. So we've got some decent stats starting off with. We don't have our 2 16s, but we'll get there.
Now, looking at this character, we do, especially as we begin to pick our classes and subclasses, strength, constitution, and wisdom are going to be important for us.
Not only that, we're going to need strength and wisdom just a multi-class, which we meet those requirements. Also, we're going to get heavy armor from being an order cleric, or from being a fighter, either way. So we knew we were going to eventually need a much higher strength in order to put the better armor on. But we're going to start off with cleric. We're going to start with that order domain because we want to be the thing that we're going to be right from the beginning, and we'll have that flavor. There's several abilities throughout the order cleric that is going to really let us capitalize on engaging with multiple actions, either ours or our allies. At a certain point, we're going to be able to cast enchantment spells as a bonus action, which is really nice because we'll be able to be in the thick of it, throw spells, and as well as whack people. Or we're going to be able to cast spells on our allies and then pick one of our allies that receive the benefits of one of our spells, and they're going to be able to use their reaction to get another attack. So this is a very supporty character as well as kind of tanky as well.
It's support. It's, you're part cleric, so you're going to have the ability to heal. I mean, this is going to cover a lot of different roles. I think it's a, pretty strong build overall. From cleric, which we already said we're taking at first level, we're going to get 2 skills. We're going to take history and religion. It's very fitting for, a cleric to get into that. The order domain is going to wind up giving us another proficiency, and we're going to have persuasion there.
We're also going to get our domain ability for choosing order, and that is Voice of Authority. And basically, that was the ability we're talking about. If you cast a spell first level or higher on an ally, then that one of the allies that spell affects you choose can then use their reaction to make an attack on someone that you choose, though.
So it's again, that falls into the support role, really doubling down on the use of actions. And right from the get-go, that character is already being built in that direction.
Now we're going to shotgun 3 levels of fighter so that we can become the thing that we want to be, and that is the Cavalier.
So we're going to choose a style. This character is going to be using one-handed weapon. So we chose dueling. You're going to get your action surge. You're going to get your second wind. Then we move on to 3rd level.
At 3rd level, we are going to choose Cavalier, and we're going to get Born to the Saddle, Mark of Warding, and we're going to get a performance skill proficiency as well. Born to the Saddle, chuck it, useless, is not going to matter much, but
unless you have a ridiculous DM, because let's face it, the Centaur in this edition is sized medium, so there is technically nothing stopping you from riding something,
riding a horse.
But let's throw the rest of that conversation out to the side and allow you to have fun with it in the comments or at your own time.
Mark of Warding is going to be really good. You're going to be able to use that. It's going to make you more sticky and more tank-like in combat. So we actually like that ability a lot. And we're very skill heavy for being a fighter cleric at this point.
I would completely agree. When we look at, we chose performance, we jokingly, looked at, the whole horse maneuvering called dressage. You're going to be like, oh, well, he's dancing. Or, you could actually get into like weapon play, or centaurs are, musical and whatnot. So there's a lot of different directions of how you could take the performance skill. And we've got a +1 to charisma. So let's use it.
All right, now we're going to go back to cleric for 2 levels. And we're going to get our domain feature, which is going to be a channel divinity. And it's kind of cool because you use your channel divinity. Everybody within 30 feet that you choose must make a saving throw. If they fail, they're charmed to the end of your next turn. And if they also fail that saving throw, they drop anything in their hands. So you just hit them with that booming voice of authority and put them all in their place.
Third level winds up getting us access to second level spells. A lot of useful things that we're going to be able to be selecting from there. Whether you want to cure more wounds, hit more people with your bless, or what have you.
Well, one of the nice things too about this particular domain is I can heal you taking my action, sadly enough, but then I can command you to whack the guy that just did the damage to you. So inadvertently, I still get to attack somebody.
So it's pretty nice. I like the way that this build is shaping up, and I think it's going to be really powerful when it hits the table. All right, so now we're going to get 2 more levels of fighter. This is going to do one thing. It's going to give us access to our first ASI. It's a little bit later because we're multi-classing. Hey, it happens. We're going to put that into strength so that we can finally be able to don that heavy armor. But getting that second level of fighter at this point in time is actually level 5. We finally get our extra attack.
Right, building along very nicely. Our next class level we're going to take is Cleric. That's going to be another ASI. We're going to put it right in con because we have a 14. It's going to take it to a 16. We need more hit points.
So at this point in time, we now have a 16 strength, 16 con, 16 wisdom. We're starting to build that character that we really want to see happening. So we're really diving in on those ASI. So we're going to take another level of fighter that's going to be level 6. That's going to give us another ASI. We're going to put that in strength with that extra attack that we've recently gotten. We're now swinging more. We want that extra bonus to hit, that extra bonus to damage. That brings us up to an 18 there.
That high strength is going to come into play, especially because it's going to affect our unwavering mark. The number of uses is based off of that. So that's why we really want to push that strength. Later on, we're going to get another Cavelier ability tied to our con. We also have abilities coming tied to our wisdom. So this character is very stat dependent.
So next, we're going to take another level of Cleric. This is going to give us the ability to destroy undead. Challenge rating 1. Not super thematic for this particular build, but hey, how many campaigns don't have undead in it?
We're also going to take another level of Cleric, once again, giving us our 6th level, and we're going to get Embodiment of Law. This one's really nice. This one's also tied to our wisdom as to how many times we can use it a day. And anytime we cast a spell that's of the enchantment school, we can now do it as a bonus action equal to our wisdom modifier. So that's pretty cool, pretty useful. This character is using a lot of their different actions as well as other people's actions.
So we're now a 6/6 character at this point in time, 12th level. So now we're going to move on and we're going to take our final level of fighter, and that's going to give us the Cavalier ability of Warding Maneuver.
So, now you're getting even stickier than you were before. That's going to max us out for fighter. This character is going to be able to hang back and sling spells or get into the fray. Either way, you're going to be manipulating the battlefield a lot.
So from here, we are going to just finish off with Cleric, so that we're going to be a total of 13 levels of Cleric, 7 levels of Fighter. Over these remaining levels, we're going to get a number of things. So we're going to get 2 more ASIs, and we're going to put them into Wisdom and Constitution. You can do it in any order that you desire, but all in all, that's going to give us an 18 Strength, 18 Constitution, 18 Wisdom. A lot of abilities that we have based off of those. So very necessary, in our opinion, to grab all of those. You are going to get Divine Strike, that once a turn, an extra D8 damage. It's pretty nice. We're going to get Divine Intervention. Hey, you're a Cleric. You only got a 13% chance of making it happen, but hey, you can keep trying. And then lastly, when we got to 20th level, we tried to make the determination as to whether or not we wanted 7th level spells or we wanted a final ASI to put in any of those abilities that we needed. It was a choice, and for that extra, whether it be +1 to damage, the couple extra hit points, or whether we were looking at the ability to cast a 7th level spell every day, I think the spell weighed out.
Yeah, you could go either way. I mean, you have to decide what you're going to use. The +1s and the hit points might add up over time. Not only that, depending which one of those you choose, it doesn't matter, because either way, it's going to affect your ability to use one more usage of those, Unwavering Mark, Warding Maneuver, and Embodiment of Law. So they're quite useful. Or a 7th level spell slot. So, it's a tough choice. We just went one way. You could go the other. Both would work quite nicely. Now we get into the point where we're going to discuss how would you use this character against your players as an NPC. Personally, I kind of want to put him on a bridge and be like, and Dark Knight it, or Black Knight it, and be like, you may not pass.
That would be a fantastic ability. I think there would definitely be some things lost because he is a very ally-driven build.
You are absolutely right.
So, perhaps he is like the central figure in a party, and, they are trying to stop you from from crossing a bridge. You could definitely have this character in another adventuring party, or, with a, caveat of other lower level Cavaliers. And, how many times, do we hear stories about, oh, my players did something stupid, I need to, course correct. Well, this guy is the embodiment of law. It says so right there in his class abilities. This is the one who's coming after them to basically bring them in. You don't have to worry about, oh my God, they're gonna kill the players. No, they're trying to bring them in. They're doing subdual damage. So you've got the ability to bring in a hard encounter, hit them hard, hit them where it hurts, and essentially bring punishment to those, faulty actions.
It is definitely, this character is definitely a commander leader type. So you're right. He does work way better in a group because you want to be able to take advantage of using the reaction of his allies to make them do other things. And then again, also, this is going to be a character that's going to be able to sling spells if they're enchantment spells, which there's a lot of really good enchantment spells. Hold person, anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And still whack people with his sword or hammer or whatever he's
Lance.
fighting with. Lance, as the case may be. So it would be a lot of fun. I like the idea that this person goes out and leads a team to hunt down adventurers that maybe they're a little murder hobo-y, and he's the one to correct them in their ways and teach them what they have done wrong. Or you could even just put him on, on the battlefield opposite of the players, and he could be commanding orcs and goblins or whatever. This centaur that we made is very un-centaur-like, actually.
Oh, very much so.
And, you could do the same. Like, and instead of, we went with, well, it's part of the Azorius guild. What if instead it was raised by, monstrous humanoids, orcs, and it's become one of their tribe and has risen up to a leadership position because they actually venerate strength and power more than they do, what you look like or what your lineage is. So that could be like a cool idea too. Like you have been fighting goblins, kobolds, orcs, whatever, maybe even ogres, and you get to the final big bad, and it's not one of those. It's a centaur instead, and you're like, this is a bit of a head scratcher. What are you doing with these guys? Don't you know you're doing it all wrong? Well, so I think there's a lot of good ways you can use this.
You could definitely use it, if you're going in the direction of, in hunting down the murder hobos, to give you that opportunity for the centaur to say, I am the law.
Absolutely, go total Judge Dredd. But the question is, would you play this character in your game? How would you use the NPC? Remember, as always, we're going to have the D&D Beyond character sheet and the character build guide down below. So you can go check those out. With that, I would invite you to join the Nerdarchy Adventuring Party over on Patreon. What can I expect there, Ted?
We're creating products for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons that both players and GMs alike can drop right into their game.
But that's not all. We do monthly giveaways and the patrons are automatically entered.
We do weekly hangouts with our patrons and more.
So quest on down to the description, join the Nerdarchy Adventuring Party, and until next time,
stay nerdy.